Okay, level 14, My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Get it anywhere you get podcasts. And my guest today, we go back a long way. Back to humble beginnings at Kingborough Community College at the great station, 90.3 WKRB. And I'm proud to say that was probably the best college radio experience of my life. And my guests today have their own little podcast called Fully Loaded Podcast. Malcolm and Jay, welcome.
What's good?
That was a good intro, right? That was okay.
It was good. You got me when you said my little podcast. That's how I introduced it. You know, I got, because it's like, it's always like underestimated. Like, oh, you know, I got a little something going on. You know,
yeah, exactly. You want to like undersell it.
I got my little job.
I got a little side joint. You know, I got a little couple.
You know, we got me a little house. You know,
I got
a whole little house.
I got a little mixtape on the side. Something I do. Yeah,
we had a little talk show.
Yeah, a little syndicated radio.
No, but we really a little podcast.
Got a little money, you know, regular shit.
So about the Fully Loaded. So I want to know the beginnings of all this. Like, you know, what made you guys want to do this? Yeah,
we always look.
Who was the brainchild of this?
So picture it, Sicily, 1847. No, so I want to say you. I feel okay. So this goes back. Okay, let's take it way back. All right, so 2013, we're at Kingborough Community College together.
2012.
13, 14, 12. Okay, 12.
Because I graduated 13.
Yeah. So I was already doing a radio show, and there was this little intern named Jason. He was mad thirsty. He was like, yo, let's do a show together. And I was like, well, I'm already working on, shout out to Kenya. We're already doing another radio show. And I was like, well, you can come join this show, but I can't leave this show and do a show. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. So in any event, that show ended up finishing. And then Jason was like, all right, well, let's do this show. So we started doing The Click.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to talk about that.
That was maybe like a year and a half, maybe not even a full year.
It was like, I think it was just about, it was an entire summer. I know that because that was like
so it was 3
No,
solid
I mean, that
months.
was like because you know how Kingsborough, like they give you shows and you have to renew your show, I think.
Yeah.
So we started test running through, I think, the spring portion. Then the summer was like a heavy run through. And I think we kind of wrapped it up leading into the winter. So I would say it was about 7 to 8 months. It was like not even a year.
It was a good part of 2014.
Enough for us to have a baby together.
Yeah.
We didn't, but we could have.
Yeah.
So we did that show. Shout out to Renee. It was the three of us doing that show.
Yeah.
It was a midday drive show too.
A what?
Midday drive.
Yo, 4 to 6, I think, Tuesdays.
Yeah.
It was on fire. That was a good time. I liked that time.
But that's The Click, Fully Loaded.
No.
Yeah. No, that was
so?
you're talking about The Click.
That's The
right?
Click.
That was
Yeah,
a click.
yeah.
That was a click.
Yes, that was a good show. Remember that episode where who did we have on from Young Guns? I think.
Oh, we had what's his name? Neef. So you know Neef and Young Chris from Young Guns. They used to be part of Rockefeller. We had them on the show.
Oh my goodness.
This show was actual work because
it was work.
it was funny because we were like, although I had already graduated by this time, so like after when I came back to do the show, it was like, yo, if we're gonna do a show, we're gonna really do a show. So this is like this is actually besides us like producing for like I think we did the not college of baseball, but we did college radio, but then we also broadcasted and did production for the Mets, the Cyclones, which was like production work. But we were like, we're gonna actually do real production for our show, which was be booking guests and actually having all these elements. We had an entire like rollout of like we did photo shoots, we did everything.
We did a lot.
So you want to tell?
Well, you guys were doing Fully Loaded at the same time.
Nah.
As The Click,
no, Fully
right?
Loaded
No?
was not even.
So we could just say so.
Did not
Fast
even
forward,
exist.
Fully Loaded. Actually, when we didn't get because we were no longer I was no longer a student after this mark, and this was almost like 2 years after or a year and a half after, and he was like on the tails ends of like his graduation and not going to be there anymore. So we would no longer be allowed to be in the building. So,
well, damn.
I mean, you're not theoretically. You have no use to being. You know,
You're trespassing.
Yeah,
You're a trespasser.
You can't just come in here and use our studio and our facilities anymore. We don't care about your little radio show. So with that being said, we took some time off, and I said, yo, let's just do a podcast. And at that time, it was kind of, I mean, podcasts were still like looming in the way. Like,
I mean, they were popular ones.
They were popular ones, but they were very far few in between.
Yeah, it wasn't like now where it's like everywhere you turn. It's like people had podcasts, like people had Metro cards.
I feel like in 2013, that's when like a lot more started coming out. At least, yeah.
It was
so
like
we've been doing podcasts for like 3 years now. So this is 2018. We started in 2015.
Yeah.
So at that time, there's a few. There was a Read Out. There was Taxstone.
I don't even think Tax was out yet.
Tax was out.
Oh, he was?
It was another one. What's Reggie Osei, Combat Jack.
Yeah.
He had a podcast, and those were the ones that were like prominent. And I was listening to them. I was like, we can do this. You just recording, being yourself, being a little more freeform, and showing your personality. Because when we were on FCC, that was kind of the restriction, not being who you could.
Yeah, you can't curse. You can't talk about dick. Can't do anything fun. And it was like, well, this is not fun.
Well, you guys were like, working people. Like, what made you guys want to? Okay, let's just do a podcast, even though I'm very busy and it's not gonna make me any money.
Yeah. So funny enough, first two things I was gonna say. Back to Kingsborough a little bit. I brought up Neve Buck because it was the episode where we had him on the show, and I think this was like our leading into podcasting area. We were like, no, you can't curse. It's like, commercial radio, blah blah blah. 2 minutes on the mic. Yeah, because motherfuckers be out here. And we were like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on.
I've been through that.
So Jay's like, oh, you can't curse. My bad, brother. Yeah, so blah, blah, blah. And then, motherfuckers. And we were like, all right, so we can't. And mind you, the way Kingsborough was set up, the studio and the program director's office and the GM's office were like all of 8 steps from everything. So we were just waiting for a head to pop out to be like, all right, y'all have to shut this down.
And shout out to Alyssa, and she would listen sometimes. Yeah. And she'll come in like, yo, what was that?
Thank God that day she wasn't, because we were like, he's wild. But yeah, so how we ended up actually doing the show was that Jay was like, I want to do a podcast. I want you to be my first guest, and then every week I want to have a different guest in the studio. And I said, you think I'm a side bitch? So I came one episode and I killed it. And he was like, oh, there is no other. But he tried to play me at first. He was going to have like a rotating, almost like The View or something, like maybe like The View, but a rotating panel of people
kind of thing.
But my idea was also, we always go back and forth. This is how it's like brothership or brotherhood, I should say. My idea was that he would always be a part of it, but he would be in the room and I would be rotating guests. But like when you have studios, it's just like your house. You're not going to, when you have a plan, you're like, yeah, everybody can come over till people start coming over. You're like,
yeah, and you're like,
I was like, you know what? People coming over.
I was like, I don't know about this recurring, guest hosting thing. And I was like, he could just be the co-pilot.
Because you guys are more of a brothership. Because Malcolm's like, yo, where's your shoes? It's cold outside. Yeah. Where's your jacket? It's raining.
All right, so I'll say this is one of the first cold days in New York off of like summer.
No, it was like 4,000 degrees like 2 days ago.
Honestly, like 2 days ago, it was super hot. But you're in here with no socks, ankles out, and a t-shirt. Like it's not 60 degrees in New York. I saw a woman on the train today, full parka, like full coat on. I was like, all right, sis, it's not that cold, but it's also not as hot as you're dressed.
Yeah, I mean the weather's really.
I was about to come up here in pajama pants because I got
those are still long pants.
Yeah,
you didn't.
Let me ask you. That's true. Have you ever did video for your podcast? If you will,
you know what? You're not the first person to ask me that, but that's the next step. Because I want to get an iPhone because the camera on iPhone is banging. Right. Mm-hmm. It's real good. But that's coming. Cause
see, the thing with this, people always tell us we should do a video too, and this goes back to us dressing. I may look a little nice today.
I like looking ashy,
but usually in a regular day when we record, regular. I'm like, yo, I've been wearing this T-shirt for 3 days.
Have not moisturized this beard. It's probably a little crust around the eye, but it's like. To me, that is the original joys of radio. Like, you can't see what I look like. As long as my voice sounds fine,
right?
That's all that matters.
But today, everything's multimedia.
Everything. So, I don't want to be seen. These cameras out my face.
Yeah.
Out of my face.
I'm not good at TV. Because I remember in Kingsborough, like, we were doing a TV show. Like, I would watch my stuff. I'm like, my eyes are, like, looking in all different types of directions.
It's hard to lock into it. I mean, this would be different because the camera would almost be like a fly on the wall, so you don't have to, like, interact with it. But to like, play to a camera is, like, it's hard. Especially like when I go see shows live, like Jimmy Fallon and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, he has a full audience, but it's like to deliver a joke to a kid, because ideally you're doing a show for everybody at home. Mm-hmm. Like the people in the audience are going to enjoy it, but it's like there were 120 of you here and 7 million people at home. So like, who are you talking to?
Yep.
But yeah, it's
and if you got a coffee stain on your shirt like I do, people will notice
like,
that.
Wow, you actually do.
Oh my God! Like it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could be talking to Obama. It don't matter. Yeah. Oh, look at his stain on his shirt.
Because what's funny now? All I'm looking at is the stain. See? That's all I can focus on. Yeah, you're right. It's very true.
So about back to Fully Loaded, like subject matter. Like how did you guys decide what you're going to talk about, like what kind of podcast you guys are going to do, or it's just let me just get into a booth with 2 mics and let's just talk some shit.
I think that was it. I think the first, it's funny enough, I remember the first episode. Everything else in the middle is foggy, but I remember one and then the last one we've taped. But it's true. But I think the first episode we taped, I remember it vividly. Funny enough, I had just had my wisdom teeth pulled.
Oh, that was hilarious.
And literally had them pulled 2:30 that afternoon. By 7 o'clock, I was in the studio. Why? How? I don't know. But something to me was just like, let's just go tape this show. But I think we talked about the VMA nominations had just come out. But it was literally just like a clusterfuck of whatever we were already talking about in like our regular day-to-day. So it'd be like, did you see, I don't know, let's bring it 2018. Did you see Meek and Drake on stage last night together? Crazy. Did you hear about like just regular shit we were already talking about?
Yeah.
And I think for me, there was some apprehension about doing a pop culture podcast because it was like everybody has a pop culture podcast. But I was like, that's what we talk about. Like this is what our general conversations are day to day. So it was like,
and your conversation is gonna be different from whatever other pop culture podcasts out there.
And I think even like in the intro of the show, like it's what's the voiceover? Like it's entertainment, lifestyle. Like it's just a bunch of shit thrown in there. Because we can't really pick a format. So
that's crazy.
Let's have her just name everything and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, because we kind of go in waves with conversation. And we're like, what were we talking about again? Because sometimes it takes us in multi directions. But that's kind of, and when you listen back, like, wow, we talked about God, we talked about sex, and we talked about the better well being of Black people. And when you think about it, it's like, I guess we got everything covered, fully loaded.
Yeah, and then, especially when you're trying to, because I go through and I make the what's it called, the info for the show, for the description. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. Like I try to think about everything we've talked about over like the past 2 hours. I'm just like, this run-up show has literally gone from like Love and Hip Hop to like the November midterms to like Pornhub. We're like, how do you title that? Like, how do you get a title from those 3 things? But
funny enough, is like when we first started this podcast, it was like the beginning of the elections with before Trump was, when he was actually running. It was, I could have swore it was like 42 different people trying to run as a Republican Party. On that. And that's when we were starting. We got more political over the course of that time. I think I know for me for sure, because I wasn't into politics either anyway. But with doing the podcast and everything in the headlines, it becomes part of your subject matter because you're just tuned to what's going on and how it affects your people and your community and your social work, your social being with settings. Like we have conversations off like, did you see this? And then when you think about it, and we only record twice a month, so we do it bi-weekly. But when you think about it over the course of 13 days before I see him, it's like you have more insight on what actually transpired in the news. And you're like, wow, this shit is really affecting us. So we became a little bit more political in that stance of like, just, all right, just whereabouts of knowing. Because I think a lot of political stuff is just, can be confusing to the most novice. But we have like kind of like I said, that 13-day layover to kind of digest and understand and learn the ins and outs. Because when our listeners listen, I would say a lot of them, more than half would I didn't even know what that actually meant, because we don't follow. I mean, I know my friends, when I say we don't follow politics. So when we come to the table, we try to have a little bit more developmental understanding and breakdown of, even if it's just like the headline, so people can understand it. Like we wanted to explain the Colin Kaepernick thing and the rollout. A lot of people don't even know that. Like one of my cousins, she was like, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played football in 2 years. I'm like, yo, sis, where you been at? Like,
well, there's so much stuff. It's hard to keep up with everything.
And then the thing is, even with that subject, because like their football is being rolled out this quarter. Now it's fall already. So with that, people don't understand that the whole kneeling thing started because he got information from a military veteran to actually kneel. So that was like the key part. So we try to share that little bit of information for our listeners, like the little key things that'll make a difference to them, saying, oh wow, this shit doesn't make any sense. But on that front, it's easy. We could talk about rap and stuff all day. Cardi B getting a knot on her head. That's
I think it's like you just talk about things that you're comfortable with, that you can be consistent with.
We talk about things we're comfortable with, but we definitely talk about things, I think, like I even said, our podcast is almost like therapy, because there's conversations that I wouldn't have been comfortable talking about out in public in 2015, which I'm more comfortable talking about now in 2018.
Yes.
It's growth.
Yes.
It's growth.
It's growth. That is.
So do you guys have a gauge of listenership for Fully Loaded, or?
I don't know
Partially.
who listens. Let me tell you, because sometimes there's people that listen to episode 7 and they don't listen to 17, but they definitely listen to episode 47. I'm just like, they come in waves, and I get that though, because a lot of people have lives, and to listen to a podcast like every day, I mean not every day, but bi-weekly, regularly, it can be kind of taxing. I listen to podcasts all the time because I work in the field of audio, and media, I should say, but It's kind of, it's like, the only thing is like, who's going to sit down and listen to something for an hour entirely every day, or like 2 hours?
That's me. I love podcasts.
But I feel like we come from a different space. Like, I feel like we all grew up on radio, so it's like, it reminds us of like that old school, like, 90s, early 2000s, listen to like morning radio. So, but there's so many podcasts.
It's on demand.
Music.
You can start and stop.
But a lot of millennials also are still learning talk format, to sit down and listen to talk format. When I was growing up, I mean, if it hadn't been for podcasts, I mean, I work in talk radio, so it's a little bit different now. But I mean, growing up, I probably would be only listening to musical radio, not talk radio. It's a little bit different. So I think, it's a learning gesture for that as well, because you're not watching something more visible. And we live in that era now, too, where everything's visual. So to sit down and have your concentration to someone's voice is kind of very taxing.
Which I find odd, but people really say they struggle. Like when I talk to people that don't listen to podcasts a lot, they're like, I can't listen to somebody talk for over an hour. And I'm like,
so my brother,
that seems short to me.
So my brother works outdoors. I'm not going to say exactly what he does, but he has the time where he's moving about, and throughout his day of working out or being outside, he listened to multiple podcasts. So if we're short, like say our podcast runs like 45 minutes, he hits me up and says, yo, what's up with where's the 2 hours though? Like, I need more time. And we look at each other like, yo, that's a lot of time.
2 hours.
But then there's people that don't even have the time span to be like, an hour and 17 minutes? I don't have time to listen to y'all for an hour and 17 minutes. They're like, I listened to the first portion. I'm like, okay. So it depends on your lifestyle. So we kind of fit a medium in between there.
What do you guys listen to? What podcasts?
Too much.
Right now, what's hot?
Well, actually, honestly, I feel like I've been off a podcast recently for some reason. I don't know why, but I've been more, because I only listen to podcasts or listen to headphones ideally when I'm commuting. So, my commute is usually an hour. So that's not even a full podcast most days. But yeah, go ahead. What do you?
So it was, because, oh man. So I have time to sit down and work and watch them. So Noriega Drink Champs is one of my favorite right now.
That's a good
one.
But
it's becoming like, I know they had like the Revo deal, so they had to kind of change the way they roll out things. But the Joe Budden podcast has been really good. Before that, those are the two main ones I listen, like watch. The one I would listen to on a regular basis is In the Conversation, and that gets me to
with who?
And that's with Damian Lemon.
Oh,
and,
right.
Ali Muhammad, who was on our show, we had him as a guest before, and those two brothers. They one is a stand-up comedian, Damian Lemon, if you ever heard of him. That's it's usually 45 minutes. That's how I know, because it's getting me door to door from work too. So I look forward to that weekly, I should say. And other than that, like the read, I kind of catch it in waves. Brilliant Idiots.
Yep.
There's a few. There's a lot out there.
Yeah, the read is my probably number one go-to.
I'm trying to actually get more into, and this is honest. So I work in talk radio. I'm trying to get into like news, like the NPR style. But yo,
you ever listen to Code Switch?
No.
Code Switch is pretty good by NPR. That's a good show.
But I'm trying to get, like that slow kind of storytelling. I'm more like conversational. I want to hear y'all have a conversation and talk about a subject matter.
Yeah.
Like every time we come to the mic, just like the cookout, we playing at the spades table, we talking, you know what I mean, back and forth. Like the kind of drag and the storytelling I'm trying to get into, I can't, like even like for 25 minutes, because that's how they usually do. So today on NPR radio, we'll be speaking.
I think it's more voice and content.
Yeah,
because you could sit and listen to Jay-Z talk for 2.5 hours. Like you could, like, and again, I think it's just dynamics. Like even like on the Breakfast Club, like.
So I should rephrase that. I'm trying to get more into listening to scripted podcasts.
Yeah.
That's hard. I don't know.
That's a challenge. This is one podcast that was recommended to me by a professor. It was about they digest murder stories or whatever, murder mysteries. I forgot what it was called. It's very popular.
Yeah.
I think it's Serial. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Serial.
Yeah.
But I like conversation. I like opinions.
Yeah, me too.
I listen to a lot of like wrestling podcasts, and I like people.
What's your favorite wrestling? We have a friend who does a wrestling podcast.
I listen to Talk is Jericho, Chris Jericho's podcast.
Have you ever listened to Wrestle Rap?
No, Wrestle Rap.
Emilio Spark?
No, I haven't listened.
That's a good one.
The Mixed Tag Show. That's a wrestling podcast. They were guests on my show.
Okay.
What else? Steve Austin has a podcast that's really good. Brilliant Idiots.
Yeah.
You guys. What else? LSQ. Jenny LSQ from Sirius. She has a podcast. That's it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
A lot of music and wrestling stuff.
See, my podcast is more like it's very pop culture and black.
Oh, Lip Service.
Oh, you listen to Lip Service?
Yeah.
Look at freaking Dick Peter.
Yeah.
Lip Service.
The thing is with Lip Service, like, there's a lot of people sometimes, but some of their conversation is very interesting.
I can't listen to Lip Service.
I can't do it either. And I don't know why. Like, I'm not approved. Like, I can listen to people talk about sex. I can watch people have sex.
It's sometimes like you look at it, I was like, I don't really need. Like, I like you in that light that I liked you before, not the dirty light.
Yeah.
Not the foggy light.
You know, everything is real black in my playlist.
Yeah,
so, like,
I try to keep it black too.
The Nod is a really good show.
I keep mine of black, but
Friend
they just
Zone.
Negro black. Like
You said what?
Negro black, like nigga black.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Nigga activities.
But you know the podcast hosted by like middle-aged black women have a special place in my heart. So like Getting Grown, Another Round, like all of those. I'm like, yeah.
Hannibal Buress has a podcast too. I forgot the name of it. It's really good. It's very interesting.
Okay.
They'll like play with sounds or whatever, and they'll like make music on the fly and do like off the cuff interviews with artists and stuff like that. I forgot what it was called.
There's one called Still Processing, which is really good. I like that.
New York Times.
Yeah. That's not scripted, but it's
No, but it falls in
that
that's
realm.
scripted
But
as it's smart talk, which I like.
What else? I'm trying to think of other podcasts. I'll think of like after we wrap, I'm gonna that podcast.
Yeah.
But let's go back to radio for a second. I want to talk about The Click. And that was like one of my favorite shows to listen. Really? I would listen to y'all like every Tuesday.
No, Peter really would.
Oh man, it was so entertaining. Like you guys, especially when you had Kenya on. Oh my, that was one episode. I can't stand her podcast. I can't stand her. Let me tell you. I actually hate her so much.
So me and her, I would like compare it to like gasoline being poured in the flames. So he hates that because I ramp her up intentionally. So
the two of them together is a terrible time. It's like having like your niece and your nephew over for the same weekend. You're like, I can deal with both of you separately or at like a big family function, but when it's just me and the two of y'all, I can't do it. Like, it's too much.
I don't know how you guys kept it together on the air. Like, it was so...
Wait, you want to know?
We did it.
It was crazy. We did it.
Oh, man. Okay, when you guys did the show, you guys had a logo done and everything, but you guys only did it for a short time. Like, but when you guys started, what was like
we ran for one season, quote unquote.
One season.
Yeah, one season.
What was the plan of The Click? Okay, do you want this to be like a demo for commercial radio, or just we're just gonna shoot the shit for a couple hours?
That was the plan. That was the plan. I was like, everybody else is doing radio with two guys or three people, two girls, two guys, whatever. I was like, this fits out perfectly.
Because you just wanted to do something that was morning show style, but none of our black asses was getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We were like, ooh, so how can we do this? But like not so early in the day.
You know what's funny? That would have worked too. Like having a morning show, but to get out there to Brooklyn where we were at.
No, I mean we put the whole show together with the idea that it was like a morning show in the afternoon. Like that was the whole point.
It was a drive time show.
Yeah. But
I'm kind of mad it wasn't a morning show now.
I'm not, because I like to sleep, and I was actually interning while we were doing that show on the morning show. So I was like, well, I don't need to be up every day at 3 a.m.
Like I remember I used to see you like in the afternoon, and then you have like pieces of paper. I'm like, oh, you getting the click ready to? For today, like, like, how long does it take you to prepare? Like, oh, like 15 minutes before. I'm like, what? It'd be like 3:45. Like, what's happening? What's going on with the click today?
It's funny because I
don't fucking know.
That's still us. Like, if we're about to tape the podcast, and let's say we're taping at 7, don't ask me what we're talking about at 6:30. I'll know about 6:55. I'll be like, all right, let's do this, and this. Like,
when I went on with you guys, I saw like Malcolm typing on like topics. I'm looking through Facebook real quick to find something.
Because the thing is, like,
no, we prepared like very like the night before school. Like, when you got a test tomorrow.
Yeah,
I should study now. Let me
doing your homework in homeroom. Like that's what we are.
A, B, C. What's the answer to number 5?
That's us,
especially because I think we spend so much time on the internet anyway. Like we're all like really into Twitter, so it's not even like looking for stories. It's like refreshers. Like by that point, it's always like, oh, what did I see on Tuesday that I now want to talk about on Friday? So,
but by the time you get to the mic, you almost forget about it because you became so comfortable with the like, oh shit, that is something we could talk about, but we didn't talk about it. But anyway, a lot of my prep, I would say, excuse me, sometimes I just screenshot stuff and I go through my screenshots like, oh yeah, these are the topics too. But we had a time where we actually did prepare and make a rundown, but then that becomes more work too. Like
unnecessarily, and then half of the stuff I want to run down, we would never even get to, because we just talk so casually that like it would be like these 7 things on a rundown. We would get to thing 2. Let's say thing 2 was like something about Fresh Prince, and now we're talking about Tatiana Ali's first album, and then we're going to like Janet. Like it just spirals out of control. So it was like, what's the point of even making this rundown if we're not gonna stick to it?
And the one thing, like when I was listening, I was low key like hating on you guys. I'm like, damn, they're so good.
No, we got hate.
You know what I mean? I was, and then I'm like, I'm thinking about how I did my show at the time. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I kind of realized from watching you guys, I'm like, you know what? I just have to be myself because they're being themselves. I want to be myself. Like they're doing that over there. I'm gonna do this thing over here.
You had a good show.
Yeah, yeah, it was all right.
Like I never listened to you. No, I never listened. Hold it down.
Saturday mornings is rough.
I never listened to your show and was like, this sounds terrible. And no shade, no tea, but there was some shows. Anyway.
Yo,
all right.
Don't get me.
But you get what I'm saying though. Like I never turned on your show or been at the station while you were doing your show and been like, this sound terrible. Let
me use this moment to give Malcolm his because
let me turn this way because I don't want to be a part of this.
Because Malcolm is so dedicated to the art of radio that he actually worked on a terrible show. For the greater,
you actually don't have to do any of this.
The show was terrible.
This that you're doing, you don't have to do.
The show is terrible, but you know when someone is like doing great work, it's like
doing honorable work.
Honorable work.
The streets need to be clean. Somebody has to work for sanitation.
But I'm like, yo, Malcolm, why are you doing this? Like, why are you here? Because I'm getting out of the studio. I can't. I need to leave. But at the same time, he was so like in love with the craft of radio.
Same.
That he was just doing that part, even if it was the means of working under not so happy or comfortable conditions, I should say. Yeah, like people that have terrible jobs, but it's like a good company. That was like almost reverse.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever believe that you'll get paid for radio ever?
Yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, believe.
No, we had to.
I don't know about believed. I was like, I would fucking like to. If it's in my cards, I would like to get paid to do this. Believe. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I never.
Hold on. Did you ever think you would get paid for radio?
You know what? In the back of my mind, I'm like, I probably can, but then some people like get in my head. I'm like, maybe I can. Maybe I should just be like everybody else. In the back of my mind, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna do me, and then because I knew like commercial radio is gonna be totally different from my obscure shit that I do.
Oh yeah,
like I understood that, and I remember like all throughout college, people would tell you do this because this is gonna get you a job. But I'm like, this medium is not that medium. Like that's a job. That's somebody's agenda for a company that you just do because like that's your job.
Yeah.
Your podcast or whatever you do on college radio has nothing. Like my air check for commercial radio was not my college radio show. It was not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I think did you do Cyclones too?
Yeah,
you did. All right, so technically,
we were
paid early for radio. That's like we were paid.
I would brag about that.
Yeah,
like, I made $50 a game,
legit. Like
at 21 years
19 years old, and I was like, oh shit, like
I'm laughing.
I'm technically a professional. Like there's a check with my name on it for.
So I graduated the first time. Like I graduated, then went to Cyclones the same day after graduation to sign my papers for radio.
Oh, check you out.
So I was
come on, boss. You're like I'm cashing.
Yo, Jay's already popping though. Right? We were in Kingsborough, talking to Daryl Strawberry on the click.
No, that was
the
thing. Yeah. No, this is the thing. So I was taking opportunity. Like this, I knew you had to get ahead of the curve, and I don't think they were so keen to that. Like with programming, like you guys are interviewing people, and that was the kind of the twist. Because I don't think they had seen a show that was being taken seriously or being produced that seriously in a long time. So
the show was exhausting.
We had Mac Wilds in there from The Wire. Who else do we have? Daryl Strawberry. We had Neef Book. We had a few people. Somebody else.
You're gonna make me my
Mookie Wilson from the Mets.
You have a good memory.
We had a few people.
Yeah.
All the shows are still on Mixcloud though.
Nigel Sylvester.
Oh, they sure
BMX
are.
rider.
Let me go in there and delete those.
Especially the 4-hour finale. That was an interesting one.
What the fuck, Peter?
Yo, I'm telling you, man.
Forgot all about
really
that.
good show. Yeah.
Forgot
You guys
all
had a
about
cake at the end.
Malcolm bought a big ass cake. That bothered me. Let me just tell
I
you.
didn't have any. Y'all didn't leave any for me.
It was a big
Were
cake.
you there?
I'm not
No, I
so
wasn't there. I think the next
Actually,
day.
I think we did leave it there. We left it there like overnight.
Maybe
and then
I did
we were
have
like,
some.
You know, black people and roaches and rats. We were like, oh, it's gonna be mice. Throw it in the garbage. So I think it was because I don't think we definitely didn't carry it home, and we did not eat that whole cake.
I think I might have saw. I saw Alyssa the next day.
Oh, I think she put it in her fridge.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I remember. I don't remember having any of the cake.
All right.
Because I remember cake.
I have still a piece of it in my freezer. I'll bring it to you.
You don't gotta do all that. Like you know, when you get married, like you keep some
Yeah,
people
the top tier.
It's crazy, right?
It seems like it would be gross. Like who the
We're gonna eat this next year.
Yeah.
No, I don't
And
want
it's
that.
dairy too. It's gonna be
Yeah. Oh. Nope.
I remember
You have the
eating cake like
BGs.
4 days later, and then it just this ain't right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But
So like, okay, after you guys graduated college, and you were like faced with a certain realization, like, okay, now I have to get a job. Was the first thing like, okay, let's go see what the radio world is like, or like, let me just try to get paid, you know?
Well, some of us was really like trying to get our ducks in a row. So aside from that, he called me an intern earlier, but I was really interning. I was interning for Covino and Rich at Sirius XM. So at this time, I was kind of getting comfortable with actual commercial radio and then XM radio, which was a whole different combination, a different animal. So at some point, I was like, one of these internships at some magnitude is going to lead to me working in media somehow. And it wasn't just radio. I just felt more comfortable in radio. It could have been TV because I had a TV internship as well, but I think I was taking radio more because it's more lax. Like, that's me. Like, I like to be comfortable. I like to, I like the art of mystique and like people being curious. So with that, I didn't like the camera necessarily on me, but I definitely thought that I was going to be working in radio, doing something, and not always on the mic, if even was behind the mic, because I just liked all the moving parts that come with it. Like, there's times where me and Malcolm, like, I'm locked in so much on production that the sound of the quality that I'm not so much invested in the conversation sometimes. He'll do more of the heavy lifting of the conversation, and then I just want to make sure the shit sounds good. And then some other days it's like, he's like, what do you want to talk about? So I have to kind of talk, and he'll focus on the other things too. But I mean, it's like, I just like the whole aspect of doing multiple jobs, because like when you're doing this by yourself, you kind of, I would give that credit to being an intern, because you learn in different parts of it. Because an intern, you're not theoretically on the mic, and you're probably doing a lot of unglorified jobs.
Mm-hmm. I think with you guys, it's like, I think Malcolm is like a conduit of like discussion, and then
he did some really cool radio. Like he was working on what was it? I want to say Andy Cohen so bad.
Oh, Elvis Duran.
Elvis Duran,
right.
Yeah. So his was very poppy. Mine, I was working on Shade 405, and then I did Covino and Rich. That was like two different things, but yeah.
I think the goal for everyone, like if you go to whatever you go to school for that first year out, you're like, I'm gonna get a job doing this shit. Like whether you go to med school or you are, a music major, you're like, I'm gonna find a way to do what I went to school for. So I think initially I was like, let's send out these air checks, let's get this resume popping, let's make this happen. And then when you realize that, and this is no shade what I'm about to say, but when you realize there's people like, Angie Martinez been on the mic 20 years, Flex been on the mic like 25 years. You're like, oh, there are no jobs. Like there's no place to work. Like, so I can't work at Register 7 if Carl is still working at Register 7 for like the past 20 years. So I think you still try to do it, but I think we also live in this space now where like you don't have to be on radio to do the work you want to do. So like with podcasting, with YouTube, with all these different outlets, it's like, well, if there's no place for me to get paid to do this work, I can find a way to do this on my own time and still do the work that I want to do, but still make a living. So,
I left out a aggressive part of that too. Cause so like at Kingborough, I didn't think like, I was vested in graduating, so I was like, I didn't know what my game plan was after that, because I was like, this is a 2-year school. I'm gonna graduate. What the hell is going to do in between? I mean, after this. So there used to be this little table where they would put like these little intern paper sheets out, and let me tell you, when I was applying to anything and everything that was in the realm of media, that's what I was just doing, because, like he said, it was no guarantee that I was gonna be working on the mic or in radio or anything like that, but I felt that if I found something in media, that would be like fulfilling for me. Because I think at Kingborough, we didn't just do radio. We had TV, we had audio, video editing. It was multiple things that could be done, but I just wanted to work in this realm of. I got lucky, I would say so. But I mean, at the time, that stage, if any advice for people who's listening out there, I would say take the opportunity, even the ones that don't look so pretty, I would say, and the likeliest words. Because sometimes, what I want to say is sometimes you may lead to another direction that it may go in your favor. So, yeah.
But when you guys got in, like when you started internship at Sirius, and Malcolm, when you started working with Elvis Duran, when you started actually getting into it, did you get a sudden realization like, oh, this is what I was meant to do, or I think I'm going to be good at this, or this is the job I want to do?
Mm-hmm. So the company was cool, and I was on the phone with the recruiter. The job, actually, I was like, who the hell is Covino Rich? But then, but the thing is, I was thinking so much, like I said, you have to kind of take the opportunity when it presents itself. So he's like, I don't have anything for Shade 4-5 right now for Sway in the Morning, but there's Covino Rich. And, I'm like, who the fuck is Covino Rich? And mind you, I keep bringing up their name because we're really like friends now. It's so weird. So I take the internship, and now I get there, and it's so like, it's fun, like fun. They're young guys. They're in their early 40s, but they're like having guy bro conversations, and I'm like, oh, this is like college frat boys on like talking pop culture about everything that's going on, sports girls and all this parties and all this stuff. I'm like, this is cool. So that when that opportunity, I didn't know it was gonna be that fun. So when I first day out the gate, I'm like, oh, well, this is chilling. This is chilling.
You got in where you can.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm glad I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
I was happy, even though he could tell you I was happy.
He's sure. Yeah, no.
But it was taxing because I was very tired all the time because I had 2 internships. The other one was CBS, and I was working on sports. And I was like,
I forgot you interned at CBS. I was thinking it was Good Day.
I did Good Day too. I didn't like that either. That was terrible. Oh my gosh, to wake up and go to work at 2 or 3 in the morning and get out at 10. You play what the? Can you that the
10
hours
a.m. or 10 p.m.
10 a.m. The hours sound crazy, so you don't really. You don't
That's how it was for me at Elvis. Like the fact that my day would be over by like ideally 11:30 a.m. You'd be like, so
what the hell am I?
What
doing?
I do now?
And what was it like working with Elvis?
Fun. Similar like to what? Oh, I think to answer your question though, I think. I mean, I always knew I kind of wanted to work in radio. So like once I got to Z100, it was kind of like, it was more of like like reaffirming than it was like a revelation. I was like, okay, like this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, even though waking up at 3:30 in the morning is shit, getting to the studio at 5 a.m. is not fun. Like everything that happens after ideally like 6:01 once the show begins is like, oh, this is lit. And then everything after like 10:01 when the show is over, you're like, okay, now this is back to like actual real life interning work. But it was fun. It was a great experience. By the time I got there, I had been at Kingborough for about 2 or 3 years. So I was like into radio, had like read all I could read, see all I could see. It was literally like, I just have to go into this. I just have to be in a commercial radio station to figure out this is exactly what I want to do.
What was your day to day?
Stress. Because I think I was interning there Mondays. I think at first it was Mondays and Tuesdays. But then Tuesdays, I was doing the show with Kenya. So I would leave Z100, go home, take a nap, wake up, go to WKRB, then do the show. And then the second semester, I was doing Mondays and Wednesdays. So I would leave. Oh, that's backwards. But in any event, I would do Z100. Yeah, the first semester was Mondays and Wednesdays. And then the second semester was Mondays and Tuesdays.
Let me ask Michael, how many internships have you had?
Only one.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's my only one.
So I've had about
2 semesters.
I've had at least about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I had 1.
I had 5 to 6.
Because when you're not a simple hoe, you can just go in and get what you need from that one person.
Oh my
God. When you're not, you bounce around to different partners.
So I can give you the quick rundown. I had Good Day New York, which is a Fox affiliate. I did CBS for sports. I did Covino and Rich, which is Sirius XM. I did Sway, which is Sirius XM. That's 4. And I think, what's the other one I did downtown? Salem Media.
Oh yeah, that was
the
like
studio we started.
Right.
So
the
5.
Christian station.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Damn, on point, bro.
Peter knows his radio.
But when you're working with Elvis, like what did he make you do?
I can't talk about it.
Really?
Really bad. No. Like typical internship, like answer phone calls. There was definitely many of days where I went to get
Screening
coffee.
calls and stuff like that. For
Yeah.
sure? Okay.
Definitely went to go get breakfast every day. Like that was not like you were getting, or I was ordering breakfast. But then like fun stuff. Like there was segments that were like specifically made for the interns. So like there was a segment like every week where we'd have to like cut audio up from the show. Nice. So it was a lot of hands-on stuff. Like it wasn't just like the horror story of like answer phone calls and get lunch and get coffee and shit like that. But yeah, it was like a typical. Well, I won't say typical because I've only done one, but in my mind, it was a typical radio internship. So,
what'd you learn from Elvis?
Like the I feel like it was like, so who the fuck was you with last night? I'm like, what did I learn? Like greatest piece of advice, maybe, or like greatest
anything. What was your biggest takeaway? Biggest morning show like ever, probably. One of them. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I would probably have to say. Damn, I don't know.
Ungrateful bastard.
I know, right? I don't. I've never had to really sit and think about it.
You should have been thought about this.
Yeah.
Maybe you probably like learned something, but you kind of just apply it without realizing what.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. Like even going back to like the Click, by the time we started doing the Click, I was like because I did 2 semesters at Elvis, so I was so deep into like the second semester that I would literally take stuff, and not like content wise, but I would just like take like the way they like produce segments or like structured out like their hours, and literally just take it to the Click and be like, all right, so we're gonna format this like this, because I was already living a life in the mornings, so it's very easy just to like replicate that, flip it to the format that we were doing, and then kind of make it work for us. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go home and think about that. What's the greatest piece of advice I got from Elvis? I don't know.
What about you, Jay? Working with Sway and CBS and Salem, what was your biggest takeaway? A job.
I didn't think about this.
A job. I know that's right.
I would say some of the things I wasn't so. I don't know. My biggest takeaway.
See, right? Like you don't think about it like that.
But there's one thing that does stick out to me, and I would probably credit Spot from this. He also worked at Z100 one time, but when I was at Kingborough, I hated doing audio. Like I just wanted to record, like fuck it, just record. And
Hated doing audio.
Like I hated the editing portion.
Oh,
I love that.
No, but let me tell you,
it can be gruesome.
It was gruesome. I was like, what is this Adobe? We just sit here and like I have ADD already, so I'm supposed to sit here and focus on this. So when I got to Sirius XM, they were like, well, you have to make a vignette and chop it down like an entire like 3-hour show and make something catchy into one minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest takeaway, to like focus on like the quality of production and actual audio. So that's my one thing, my takeaway. Other than that, I would just say rub shoulders with the right people. Just familiarize yourself. I'm still kind of like, even though there's people I work with for like 5 years now, and I don't talk to them at all. But yeah.
Yes, weird. I don't think I learned it from Elvis technically, but I think like a takeaway is always just like, it sounds, I guess, cliche, but it's like do honorable work. But it's like do, like, I was about to get mad preachy. It's like, but do the work you were called to do. So it's almost kind of the idea of, yeah, I know it sounds.
Thank you, Sharpton.
Yeah, I know, right? Very TD Jakes. But it's like if you do like respectable work, and if you do what you're supposed to do, not to say things will come to you, but it's like that is.
Put the weed in the bag.
Put the weed in the fucking bag. Thank you. That's perfect. That's it.
We're going that way. Okay,
yeah, that's actually it. Yeah.
Yep.
So
I've been reading Charlamagne's book, so like
that's a Charlamagne hot take.
That is
Put
so
the
true
weed in
though.
The fucking bag. Yeah.
That is absolutely true. I've experienced that.
And I think that's the. You want to borrow my copy?
No, I have a copy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I think, especially like being an intern, I think everybody is so. And Elvis was like a fun show. So like interns would go on air. They would be like featured on a website. Like when I started interning, like Instagram was just becoming really big. So like if you got posted like on the show's Instagram, you was like, oh shit, I'm famous. Like this show, this show has like literally like 12 million listeners like a week. Like this is a big ass show. Like I'm famous. Like y'all. I'm famous. But I think interns get so caught up and it's like, oh, I want to be on air. Oh, I want to be in the interview with Lady Gaga. And it's like Charlamagne says, it's like, put the weed in the fucking bag. Mm-hmm. Like if you're here to answer phone calls, answer the phone calls.
Make
like,
sure you do that real well.
If you're here to, be the web intern and send out tweets about, the Fifth Harmony coming on Tuesday, sit at this computer and send out your fucking tweets. So I think doing what you're supposed to do awards you more opportunities. So it allows you, humble brag, but it allows you to like intern for 2 semesters. It allows you to like get invited to Jingle Ball and then be backstage. It's like, what the fuck am I doing backstage at Jingle Ball? Like my black ass.
Yeah.
Power 105 listening ass backstage at Jingle Ball. Like, what am I doing here? So
I like what Howard Stern said. He's like, when I started in radio, I sucked, but I wanted to learn how to just be comfortable in front of a mic. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Before I can learn how to be funny. And that was it for me. I'm like, you know what? I got to do that. I got to make sure I can talk well before I can like say something interesting. You know what I mean?
Learn how to ride the bike before you start doing tricks. You want to sit up on the handlebars, ride the pegs, spin the shit around. Just ride the bike.
What you guys are both saying is even more like important today because there's far and few internships now. So and because everybody jobs internships are required in New York State wise to pay. We worked in the era where they were free. So we got in and was just like, oh, these are internships, and we kind of made the best of what we could of them. But now there's even less opportunity for people
the pool
to.
Is so much smaller.
So much more, and not even just like talking about radio and media, but in all aspects. Because interns fought to get paid, but now they kind of slided themselves because there's less people. The jobs don't want to pay people. So they don't want to pay interns and pay the employees. So when I look back now in my job and like I remember it was like probably 40 of us and I only see like 10 kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I could have been that 11th kid that didn't get picked.
Yeah.
And luckily I came in at the good time when I was being aggressive and that's what I'm saying, be aggressive. And even more so now because I didn't necessarily want to get paid. Back to what you were asking about being paid. I just wanted I wanted my resume to be lit. You know what I mean? When I have conversations with people. And I don't think now when I talk to people, I feel more comfortable about where I work and what I do and not even being on air. Like I'm just like a producer and do audio work. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, and people be like so happy with that. And I'm happy with what I do too, but it's not about, put the weed in the bag.
Yeah.
Put the weed in the bag because, I work with Bevy Smith. So Bevy's not giving up her show to give Jay his own fucking show.
Not at all.
So Jay, run the fucking board. Make sure the audio's lit. We recording.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's it.
If you could do that, you can do anything else, right? So let's talk about some bullshit, some nonsense.
Yeah, you did take us
last
too
night
serious for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't like
I went on Instagram. I'm sure y'all did too. And you saw a picture with Cardi with a bump on her head.
Naughty beans. And
then there was a video of her in her long gown going at somebody, and apparently it was Nicki Minaj.
You know what I like? Keep that same energy. Cardi's like, whether I'm in a ball gown or whether I'm in, this Fashion Over tracksuit, you're going to get this work. And I appreciate that. I like the consistency because people want Cardi to be hood all the time and they want Cardi to be like, oh, she'll run up on you and break a bottle on your face. But when she actually runs up on people and I was like, oh, she ghetto, she tacky. It's like, no, this is what Cardi's been telling us. Cardi's been telling us who she is for the past 2 years. And I feel like now people are surprised that Cardi is who she says she is. It's like, well,
go back and listen to Get Up 10.
Listen.
Oh, man.
Listen. But yeah, so yeah.
What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
I mean,
talk, Malcolm. Come on.
All right.
Stop playing games.
I didn't have a problem with it. People were like, "Oh," and that's the problem. And I think, especially Black people, have to get out of this habit. People want to easily associate things where white people are in attendance as "quote unquote" classy. They're like, "Oh, they're at this classy event," and I'm like, "This is Fashion Week." I get there's some type of elegance here, but I'm like, is this really like? It's not the White House. Well. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not,
It is the White House now?
Exactly. So I think people, especially Black people, have to like stop associating with like, events where it's only white people as like classy events, because I'm just like, that's not what this is. But I think to the greater point of it, I'm Barty gang, so like I approve is probably not a good word, but I understand where Cardi's coming from, because people on Twitter were saying like, oh, this is about album sales and the queen of rap, and I'm like,
what is it about?
Y'all don't know Bronx
really
bitches like I know Bronx bitches, and people I know from the Bronx are not fighting over not winning, the game at Jefferson on Tuesday. They're fighting because you disrespected them, you said something crazy, you been doing slick shit. And
who does Cardi go at? That's what I said this on here yesterday.
Who?
Like, who does Cardi like? Cardi doesn't like attack anybody.
She doesn't.
She goes on IG Live.
She really does a good job of minding her business.
There's
like
potholes in the streets of New York.
Yeah, like there's some times where Cardi, I feel like there's moments where Cardi needs to grow up, because she'll clap back at like fans, or not fans, but people on the internet a lot. And I'm like, well, Cardi, these people are gonna be here. Like you can't come for like every egg profile on Twitter. But from my understanding of this whole thing, Nicki has been doing a lot of like, behind the scenes shit. She said it. Little Kim has said it. K. Michelle has said it. Who else am I thinking of? Travis Scott. Yeah. Like Remy Ma. So many people have been like, Nicki's been on, some sneak petty bullshit, and I'm not having it. And I feel like that's the same thing that happened with Cardi, and Cardi is a regular girl from the Bronx. So
she said, say something about my daughter again. Say something about my daughter again.
Oh, you know what? God. Let me tell you what my problem is. Maybe because I'm so broke and I can't relate.
Maybe.
I can't relate either. I think it's like
y'all
WWE.
so rich.
I'm sad that y'all can't relate.
I would be ignoring so many people if I had money. Like I can't address all these issues. I'm trying to disappear. Y'all want to be seen.
I probably couldn't address all these issues either. But you got to think, that's like, this is basically equivalent to like you and I being at a party and seeing Peter at a party and knowing Peter's been talking shit about us the whole time. It's like, well, now bitch, we in the same room. So like,
what's up?
Because again, like, how often are Nicki Minaj and Cardi B probably in the same room?
Right.
Not often. Like what? The VMAs, the BET Awards, and Fashion
And Cardi
Week.
has said I never had a problem with her.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about this now. To fast forward, I'm like, this is the one opportunity they were in a room together. And next time they're going to be together, it's probably going to be at a Grammy or something.
Yeah.
And they're going to be sitting on 70 rows apart.
By far.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it.
I'm like, they're never going to be in the same room again.
And the thing is, especially with two artists of like this magnitude, I'm like, anything that they're at together is going to be a classy event. Like, they're not going to be at Nas's, well, maybe Nas's pool party. But, like 9 times out of 10, if these two people are in a room together, they're going to be at a Fashion Week, the Grammys, the VMAs, anything of like that magnitude. So,
yeah.
Listen, that's my energy, though. Cardi was in that ball gown, and she was like, I will still take off
a
this
picture
shoe.
Too with the bump on my head. I don't care.
Well,
the bump came from the security.
I heard that came from security. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So they mistakenly trying to hold her back and elbow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I'm here for it.
I don't think they really got physical, but the shoe throwing was actually dope.
Oh, I live.
Because it's like,
I was like, this is great.
That's ultimate disrespect.
Oh, yeah.
You gonna throw something at me?
I want a boomerang of that.
Yeah, and it probably came back. It probably came back to her, but because Nicki likes to rap about running up on people. Cardi likes to rap about running up on people. And we was like, well, we see who actually runs up on people, because
you're gonna run up on who and do what?
exactly. Like, so yeah,
I heard Mary J and Faith. We're getting into it too.
I heard that too. I heard that was a rumor.
Yeah, there's no video of it yet.
And that's my rule of 2018. If there's no video, if there's no receipts, it didn't happen unless there's like many people. Because that thing was popping on Twitter before the video even came out for Nicki and Cardi. Mm-hmm. Like, people were tweeting that were at the event. Like, oh shit, like it just went down at this whatever.
Yeah,
Harper's Bazaar, whatever they're at. Yeah, that. Nicki, who we talking about? Faith and Mary.
Yeah, Faith and Mary, yeah.
Faith and Mary. I mean, too old, but if I had to put money on somebody, it would definitely be Mary. I feel like Mary would.
She's from Yonkers.
Yeah, and I mean, Faith is like, that's still a fair fight, but I feel like I put my money on Mary. Because Mary got a lot of heartache, Mary dealing with a lot of shit. Fresh off that divorce, she probably really want to fuck Kendu and his new girl up, but she can't do that because she married J. Blige.
That crazy, what was that? The KFC commercials he did a couple years ago. That was
we didn't
wild.
have to talk about that. We didn't have to do that. Crispy chicken, fresh lettuce. Yeah, that was a hit for the culture. We were all like, sis.
I mean, I don't want to perpetuate stuff, but like, I said this on the air yesterday. I'm like, man, WWE should keep tabs on this. You know what I mean?
WWE?
Yeah, like because it's like stuff that would happen.
Wow, that would be actually. We need.
Well, we lived a little bit of that era. Now, unfortunately, that man is the president. So
that's true.
When celebrity intersected with WWE,
it's already happened. So
that was.
Did you guys hear Eminem's album?
I did listen to it.
No, I know Malcolm probably didn't.
You know I didn't listen to it.
What'd you think of it, Kamikaze?
It was better than what was it, Revival?
Revival, yeah.
Yes, it was very much so better than Revival. I didn't like that it was a sneaky rollout. That's the thing I want to talk about too. I was saving this for the podcast. Like when I wake up on the next day, I have almost my day set as to what I need to listen to. All right, I'm listening to music tomorrow. Or I know so-and-so podcast come out in the morning. You just drop a sneaky album on me. Like, if I know that Nas or Jay is dropping an album, 12 o'clock, midnight, I'm going to listen to a few songs. Yeah. And in the morning, I'm going to listen to the rest of it. So when he dropped the album, I'm like, I didn't even plan for this, bro. Like, how you doing?
That's the point.
I listened to it. It was some good rapping on there. It was, the thing is with Eminem is he's not my favorite rapper, but he's a good rapper. And at the same time, I don't always go back to revisit him. So I listened to the album. It was good rapping. But I'm not going to go back because I'm not like a stan. No pun intended. But it was okay.
I thought it was better than Revival. But the thing is, there's still like these Eminem tropes. Like you're whining that people didn't like your album. Like you did a response album to people who didn't like your last album.
Well, I think
you're 45 years old, man. Come on.
I think he particularly needs to get comfortable with himself in whatever regard or whatever manner that may be. But you can't kind of like he's trying to fit into a sound. He's trying to fit in his lane now, where the sound has changed, and also criticism is more open. So we live now where everybody's going to break down your album. They're going to discuss it publicly and openly. You have to get comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a bunch of naysayers or people that didn't like your work or going to critique it. You have to be comfortable with that part.
Yeah.
Because you, like, back to addressing, you can't address everything. So this is what this album was, addressing all the people that didn't like your last work.
Well, if you remember the Paul Rosenberg skit? You're going to do an album, the response to the people who didn't like the... What's next? You're going to do an album, the people who didn't like the response album?
Right. You can't... You're never going to be able to keep up. I think you should do, like, stay in your lane and just run your race with your blinders on.
With your blinders on. Yeah, I had y'all know I had
because also let me tell you Eminem is a great rapper.
Yes.
And if you're the greatest, if you think so and people have given you that, why are you addressing these motherfuckers down below you?
Eminem.
I don't see ya.
You're like the hottest selling rapper like ever probably. People still go to your shows.
Right.
You know, you have mainstream pop acceptance. Who gives a fuck if someone didn't like your last album? Who cares?
Yeah. Like Jay said, y'all wanted the OJ. Go get the old shit.
OJ, go buy my old shit.
And you know what's funny?
It's still there.
M said he was inspired by Jay-Z's 444. And 444 was really a grown album, but
this album that he just dropped was inspired by 444?
He said no, Revival was. He's like, I was inspired by 444. I didn't hear that at all. I didn't.
Yeah, okay.
Well, we also have to realize, and I think maybe we're dealing with the sober Eminem, so the music is definitely going to be totally different.
But I liked Recovery. Recovery was good.
It was good. But
I liked it.
But now he's 10 years sober, so we're not going to get that. Hi kids. Do you like violence?
And I don't want that. I don't want that Eminem. You know, I like Lose Yourself. That was real grown Eminem.
But let me tell you also too, he's going to get more critique because I said sonically the music has changed. Mm-hmm. So his beat selection is not necessarily what we're listening to on the radio. We live in a turn up era. If I can't bounce on the way to the club to this shit, like, you know.
But even when Eminem was popping, there was still a lot of turn-ups up. Like when Marsh Mathers came out, there was Annie Up, right? There was, what else was popping? That Nelly song, Country Grammar, that was popping, you know? Right. So
he was on Country Grammar?
No, I'm just saying, like, it came out at the same time. That would have been interesting, though.
Even the Annie Up, I was like, maybe Eminem did like a cover of Annie Up and I missed that. And then
it came out during that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, got it.
Because we had Stan, then we had Annie Up. You know what I mean? So, like, Eminem didn't really care what the wave was.
Yeah.
You know? So he was always against the wave.
His mother.
right? Or his baby mom too.
That's why I fell off the bandwagon as soon as the wagon was built. And I was like, he wants to kill his mother. I was in like the 4th grade. I was like, oh no, this is not gonna be music for me.
Let me go back to Destiny Child.
So what do you rate the
Thank
album?
you for knowing me.
What I rate it? You know what? It's a solid album that I can't listen to again. Let's just say
That's interesting.
I can't listen to it again because I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm gonna listen to Astroworld.
See,
sorry.
See, that's a different Sonic. Astroworld was good.
Yeah, he didn't complain that. Oh, why didn't you guys like Rodeo? You know what I mean. I think people like that, but like, who cares what people like? It's like with Nicki, right? You're mad that your album's number 2. Your number 2 album.
Number 2.
Come on, man. We need to grow up, man. This is ridiculous. So, I want to talk about Jeffrey Owens, the job shaming. Y'all heard about that?
Yeah.
The Trader Joe's.
Somebody. Did I hear this name before?
Oh, that's my cousin. It's your cousin
Elvin.
Jeffrey.
Elvin on the Cosby Show.
That's what you should have said. Elvin. This is good.
Our favorite original misogynistic asshole. Elvin was trash. He was dead walking the house and be like, Mrs. Huxtable, you're not cooking.
You're not
dinner?
cooking?
Like, you're not going to clean the
What are you
house?
talking about?
Between him and Bud on the Cosby Show, like, I was like,
Bud was
damn. Like,
nasty.
yeah, Bud was ruthless.
But then on Sister, he was like the same guy.
Yeah.
The grown Bud.
Yeah. Shout out to, what is his name? Jordan. His name is not Jordan. His character's name was Jordan. Jordan Tyreek. Damn, what is his name? Oh, Dion Richmond.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Dion. Anyway. What do you ask? Jeffrey Owens, yes. I think it's fucked up how they treated Jeffrey Owens.
Yeah.
Like, because he was working at Trader Joe's.
Put the weed in the bag. I'm telling you.
Put the weed in the bag.
Oh,
yeah.
we had this conversation the other day. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's just, I liked how Hollywood has rallied around him kind of, because I think, especially actors, I think musicians, I don't know, it seems like musicians work differently for money, but I feel like most actors know, like, I'm gonna be working a side job. Like, most actors still wait tables or, like, it's just a part of the culture. But I like that Tyler Perry gave him a job. I hate that they tried to blast his shit on Fox News and be like, look at you, you're terrible because you have a job and you want to keep a roof over your head. But yeah, I think it's just, yeah.
This world is fucking like, I don't know when I'm supposed to use this term, but this world is fucking retarded.
Not supposed to use that word.
You're not, but listen, there's so many things. Like, imagine if everybody had a glorified job. Who the fuck else would be doing the other shit?
It's like these days when people get like, it's either one or the other. Either you're popping on Instagram or you're poor.
Yeah. That's it.
There's no in between.
And half of these motherfuckers are popping on Instagram and still poor. So
Yeah.
it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, you got 40 million followers.
And don't have $4 in your bank account. It's like, so what's really going on? Like,
Soundbite. That was, but listen, because I be thinking about this too. I respect everybody and what they have to do, because like, even my Uber driver, I wanted to choke him out today, but he has a job to do because I need to get that destination. Now, if he wasn't an Uber driver, how would I gotten here?
How would I get here?
So I can't look at anybody in that, like, if we all waiting tables, I would not wait. But somebody has to do this work. Somebody has to do it.
You gotta go to work. Oh God, what is her name?
And the thing is, who are we? And the thing, a lot of people have criticism upon what other people do for work, and they're not contributing to their bank account or lifestyle. So if someone wants to work at Trader Joe's because they make a means for their living conditions, let them do so, because you're not going to give them money out of your salary. Why should you shame or give a fuck what they do?
Right.
What do you do for a living?
Word. And that's why, like, Marla Gibbs came out. Oh, she said this a while ago, but she said that she was working on the Jeffersons, and she was on the Jeffersons the show was on TV for 2 seasons before she quit her job at like American Airlines or some shit. Like, you just never know. Like, you just never know when these jobs are going to dry up. Even on Insecure, Thug Yoda, he was working at Apple at the Genius Bar, and he was working there up until, I think, season 2 premiered. So he had shot all of season 1, got paid for that, shot all of season 2, and then before season 2 premiered, he left his job at Apple. Because it's like, I gotta eat. Like, I understand y'all see me on TV, y'all think I'm real famous and super rich, but these bills got to get paid. So
I like what J. Cole said in that Angie Martinez interview. It's like, he believes like the celebrity is gonna go away soon, because I think America has an obsession with celebrity and being viral, and people think, oh, this is the only way that I can make a living. I don't want to work a regular job. I just want to do, you know what I mean? I want to be a content creator,
I want to be on Vine.
I want to be popping,
a lot of this popping don't come with checks or anything.
Sure don't.
No.
There's a lot of activity just pop. That's why I just live like. I mean, my best advice is just live your life. Like, if you could be popping without having to be a celebrity, just you having a Lil Duval. I'm living my best life.
The goal. That is perfect. Like I was reading something the other day. It was about some writer. Oh, it was a woman. Oh God. I think she wrote like one of them. I think she wrote September. But she wrote Earth, Wind, and Fire September. She has like a huge catalog. Super rich. If you passed her in Target, say you would not know who the fuck this woman is. I'm like, that's where I want to be. Like, I want to be super rich, but I do not want people to know that I'm rich. Like, when you see, Oprah in the mall, you're like, this is Oprah. She got mad money. But it's like, no. I treat me like regular, degular, schmegular guy at Target.
Yeah. I think if I become a millionaire, I'm going to still drive a Honda.
Oh, yeah, same.
That's me. Ludacris, I remember he was on George Lopez's show years ago, and he said
George Lopez did have a talk show.
He said, like, I still drive my 1990 Acura Legend with like 200,000 miles on it. I'm like, that's me.
If
that's
it works, yeah. I'm saving all these monies, all of it.
Yeah. I'll blow it on concerts or whatever. I don't need the Rolls Royce.
Because you look at these people that are like pop. I mean, prime example, MC Hammer. Like MC Hammer, huge, big, super rich. I mean, he was also wasting a lot of his money, but not wasting it. He was trying to do reputable things, like take care of his family. But look at him now. I guess, yeah.
All right, can't have you guys leave here without telling me some of your favorite albums of the year. Because this is
of the year.
Of the year. That's not fair. You know who I am. Of the year. What the fuck? All right. You go first because
all right. So off the top, you didn't even give me a chance to go look at my music thing.
Yeah, I have to pull up mine too.
One of my top favorites, Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap, was very highly anticipated. I like that. J Rock from TDE. Did Black Panther soundtrack come out this year?
Yeah. Yep. That was this year. It was February.
I like that shit. That was a good album. It was a good I'm not a soundtrack person, but that's a good soundtrack to go with a film.
I like that Vince Staples song, Ops.
Yeah, that's
fire. Love it.
I like the Pusha T.
Yep. Daytona.
Oh my gosh, what else came out? Cardi album was pretty good.
Yes, sir.
I do like that song. And speaking of Nicki, I like the Ganja track, the Ganja Burns. That's fire.
It's not an album, but okay.
I like that song.
Definitely one song.
One song. Yeah. Albums. What else came out?
I have mine.
Astro just came out, but I mean, at the top of it, I would say Victory Lap.
Yeah,
which is Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah. I only have one that I truly love.
I think I already know what it is.
What is this?
Everything is Love.
Oh, yeah. Beyonce.
I was like, oh yes. I was like, what does Beyonce release this year? And I was like, oh, okay, right. Perfect.
So he wasn't even looking.
After she hadn't released, I was like, oh, that was it. That was this year.
If it wasn't that, he would have said Lemonade.
I had an argument with my mom. She wanted the Carter. She wanted that album. Yeah, I was like, "There's no physical of it yet. It's only on streaming service, only online."
Yeah.
And then me and my brother would keep like reiterating, "Oh, there's no physical." And then turns out like me and my brother went to a record store and we found it. And we bought it for her. So
it took a minute for the physical album to drop. But yeah.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know what else I've liked though. I feel like I'm old. Like my shout out to the friend zone, but like my my music listening is more like listen latelys, which is just a bunch of old shit. Like new releases is never for me. But I'd be like, yo, I went back and listened to, I don't know, give me something. Like this is 1998 playlist on Tidal called 1998 R&B. It's great. Monica, Usher, me, it's so much good shit on there. Joe, like it's perfect.
There's one on Spotify which is called the 80s playlist. Really good.
Yeah, bangers.
Really good. Keith Sweat, all this it's good stuff on there.
I listened to like a bunch of DeBarge the other day. Like my music is
High Five.
I can't do new because I'm just such an R&B head.
Yeah,
and I feel like because let me not say that. That's not fair. But because new R&B isn't popularized like it was when we were growing up, like you could turn on the radio and legit hear like a Biggie song and then go into like 112 or Casey and JoJo. Yeah. And now it's like there is no
Biggie will be on the 112 song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But now they're like there is no R&B on the radio unless you listen to like,
You don't like Boot Up?
I love Boot Up.
Boot Up. Boot Up. Boot Up.
Great, one song. But
what's other guy?
She got another song, Trip.
That's
pretty good too.
Yeah.
You heard it?
No, I haven't, but I've heard about it.
You're gonna hear it.
But I'm saying the R&B though. I'm just like in general, like.
You know Kalela?
No, what's that?
Just R&B girl. She's amazing. I've been listening to her like crazy.
Was it K? Like
Kelela.
Gotcha.
Kelela.
Yeah. Okay.
And Raven Lene, she's another good one.
Yes, I've heard of her.
Phenomenal.
Black is good too.
Black? Yeah, I heard a lot about him. I haven't heard too much from him though.
Jack Quay. I'm trying to get into listening to Jack Quay music.
Yeah, I'm real bad with new music. Like you have to force it on me because I would literally. SZA had a good album. Was that this year though?
Yeah. That was last year.
I think it was last year. Yeah.
Yo,
Control.
the year, like I don't even know sometimes what year we're in.
No, honestly.
I'm like, we're already September.
It all kind of just blurs together.
Of what? 2017? Like
17.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything is love. Favorite album of the year.
I'm gonna go with Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap. So, yeah.
All right, fully loaded. Malcolm, Jay, thanks for coming on the show today. Where
Thanks
can
for
people follow
having
you?
us.
Yeah, anytime.
This is a comfy home, man.
It is. I like it
right.
here.
I could be here all day.
Right. I'm ready to kick my shoes off.
Where can people follow you guys on socials?
At @focus_JRJ.
I'm at _Hey Malcolm, and the show is wherever you're listening to this show right now. You can probably listen to Fully Loaded.
Yeah.
This wasn't fully loaded.
Definitely. All right. It's been level 14 of My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Subscribe everywhere, anywhere you get podcasts, and Fully Loaded too. Subscribe to that. The show is popping too. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Peter A. Radio. All right. That's it. Peace out, guys.